Twitter has algorithms to tell me personally about everything that's happening in the world. But you're telling me that they can't figure out the fact that they have racial bias in their algorithms?
A simple Twitter experiment showing how racial bias can show up in the most unexpected places, like algorithms. A picture like this will generally lead to a preview like this, featuring the face with the lighter skin tone.
The fact that the data was skewed in a certain way isn't the computer's fault. It isn't even the algorithm's fault. It's the fault of the people who made up the data set.
It doesn't necessarily mean the people who programmed them have a conscious bias, but it does demonstrate how racial bias can creep into machine learning.
It all has to do with the data that goes in. So if you happen to feed data that's a bunch of white people, quite possibly it's going to develop a bit of a bias toward that.
And sure, maybe Twitter's staff population is getting higher in terms of the BIPOC community, but do they actually have that power? Who are the ones that actually make the decisions?
There are several examples using different faces, and if you use editing tools to significantly darken the lighter face, it may change the results. I posted a couple of pictures to see what would happen. You can see them at John Muma. While the result doesn't replicate 100% of the time, it happens enough. Twitter has taken notice, tweeting, "We tested for bias before shipping the model and didn't find evidence of racial or gender bias in our testing. But it's clear that we've got more analysis to do."
Twitter and whoever uses these algorithms needs to validate them. But there's money involved, so they rush them to the market and, then people complain and they make fixes.
There's literally no excuse for billion-dollar companies to be reactive rather than proactive. You have time, you have money. I'm sure they have a lot of folks in their organization, or at least a few who work on like diversity and inclusion type of initiatives. So they need to be involved in this conversation.
In Calgary, Jonathan Muma, City News.